So the next thing we need to do is program what we're gonna bend. So the machine thinks in terms of steps. It can hold up to 99 steps, and each step is kind of like a program that contains all of these variables. Each one of these lights is a separate variable. So if I want to program a step, the first thing to do is hit this button, memory, and now we're in the memory mode with the red light there. And now we can look up here. The first thing it wants is for us to tell it what step we're going to use. It doesn't really matter what step you choose to use, but if you see a note telling you not to use certain steps, then stay away from those steps. We'll stick with using step 1. So to confirm that, I'm going to hit this button labeled EOB. Now I can look to the flashing light, and that tells me what variable is displayed in this box. So our first one here is flange dimension. That's essentially the location of the backstop, how tall you want your bend after it's done. So for an example, we'll do a 2-inch bend. So 2, then once again I'll hit EOB. That will take me to angle. So angle is just the angle it's being bent to. For an example, we'll do 90 degrees. Next is bend length. So that is the, it's really the width of your part that you're bending. So in this case, I think this is a 1-inch piece of material. Yep, so we'll put in 1 inch and hit EOB. And now, rather than going through all these, I'm gonna stay in the boxes. Those are the essential variables. So I'm going to use these arrow keys to navigate up to this one labeled V opening. So that is the width, the V opening of your die, and that can be found printed on the die, but be careful because it's printed in both millimeters and in inches, and we want to input it in inches. So that's going to be 0.472. 0.47. We only have 2 digits, so we'll just put 0.47. Next is the thickness. That's the thickness of your material. So we have a piece of a 14 gauge here. So that's going to be 0.075 already in there. So we can go on to the next one. This is your tensile strength. That is the tensile strength of your material in KSI. You can estimate it or look up numbers if you're not sure. For this steel, we'll stick with 60 KSI. Next is going to be our punch radius. So that's the radius on the end of the punch here, and that's printed on the punch. And in this case, it's 0.026. If you can't find it on the punch, then look at some of the bigger punches, have more information on them. Next is our die radius. That would be printed on the die. If it's not printed on the die, that means that it's 0. So we'll hit 0. Next is die angle. That is printed on the die, and that is 30 degrees. So now we've gone through all of our essential variables, and that's all we'll worry about for now. So every time that you edit anything in the memory, you need to hit this button, input. That's gonna save our changes, and now it takes us on to step 2, which we could edit, but we're not gonna edit it now. Instead, we're going to hit this memory button. That's going to take us out of memory mode, and notice that it also took us back to the last step we edited, step 1. So now I can hit the start button. Our backstop moves forward. We can flip down our fingers, and we can bend our material. It's always wise to do a dry run to make sure nothing seems weird or wrong. So I'm just going to step on the pedal, run it till it stops. And look and see, and that looks like we would get about a 90-degree bend. So now, one thing that can happen is it actually took us to step 2. So to get back to step 1, we're gonna hit stop. We're going to hit step 1, and now we're gonna hit start again. So now, I can go ahead and put my material in, hold it up against the backstop, step on the pedal, and bend it till it stops. Now we can look and see that we've got a nice 90-degree bend.